Hello, everyone. This is Yonks with REtoken, the real estate DAO, and we are live streaming again. And we've got a very strong representation on Sunday. And you know what people are not doing today? They're not watching the Broncos play because we are learning how to coordinate. And this is a rewards distribution tool. And the way that we're structuring the implementation of Coordinape is we're working on a weekly calendar. This is our second full week, and we didn't even have all of our teams that we're working with here this week all set up last week. So this is the first full week of all the teams that we have, and I think we have 5 teams, if I'm not mistaken. We have the core team, and then here in the REtoken relaunch, we introduced the content team, the dev team, the ambassadors to develop our ambassadors program, and then the new platform team. And it'll be interesting on the new platform team if that's a team that we refresh for round 2. And the way that we're doing this first round is that it's 4 weeks. And again, this is an end of the week sync that we put forward here. I don't really have any tight agenda, was just really wanting to talk about like some best practices, because this is all like pretty fresh as far as Coordinape. And here is my profile on Coordinape, and there's a couple other DAOs that I participate in. And when you're on your profile page, this is a very nice summary as far as the epoch statement as far as activities go. So you can see here, I haven't put an epoch statement in on the content team. So I'm actually just going to show you what that looks like, because that's one of the things as you're developing some habits that you want to do. Because what happens here, like I'm going to switch to the content team. And like I said, here's the dev team, content team, ambassadors, core relaunch team, and the new platform team. So I'm going to go over here to the content team, and I selected that from my little profile content team, and we're going to go to allocate. And this is where most people will start off with. And this is what you really want to do or kind of like as you're going through the week. And that's one of the things I'm really excited about Coordinape, is I think that it'll help us to be more intentional as far as like thinking about, hey, what am I doing to contribute to REtoken, the real estate DAO? So like on the content team, like one of the main things that the content team will be responsible for is producing the, the community call that we have every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're having one here this next week because of the way that the Christmas falls on a Saturday. We felt that on Wednesday, and that'll be I think we're going to do another Coordinape. And instead of having an end of week or a weekend sync, that'll be the only opportunity here. So this will be important. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. So let's see, I'm going to say hosted our 16th community call on Wednesday. And I'm going to put some more details in here as far as the contributions that I've made. I'm just wanting to keep it super simple right now for the sake of this live stream. So all done with that, I'm going to click on Save Epoch Settings. And then what it goes to the Allocate Give. And this is where that you have the opportunity to thank people for the contributions that they did. And this is one of the things that I actually want to digress and show over here the content team. Right now, Discord is the place that most of the conversations are happening. So, and this is right here, the Coordinape bot. We're in the content team channel. So this is an update that happens every day at 4 o'clock. And J.M. Luther, she is our community member of the week. I do want to spend some extra time on our snapshot to just kind of bring some extra attention to how fabulous. We like to have fun here, and we have this community member of the week. I'm going to do an extra video for creating some proposals and also doing some airdrops. So again, thank you to our community members of the week, Ernest of Gaia and jmluther.eth. They were nominated. Thank you, Ernest and Julie, for all that you're contributing here. And the thing that I was wanting to talk about that I wanted to provide some, again, special recognition to Julie, showing some initiative here. And I'm just scrolling through, like, I created this, and this is one of the things that I spoke about at the core team call, this AMA, this REtoken relaunch. So this is kind of like an idea list as far as me just kind of putting some ideas in, I've been putting out a lot of ideas in Discord, a lot of content there. And the thing that really impressed here with Julie is, like, she took the initiative here, provided some frame of reference, created a REtoken relaunch strategy, content strategy, absolutely fabulous. So how am I going to show that here is I'm going to go down here to Julie on the content team and give her some REtoken, or not REtoken, some gives. And in this Coordinape, it's called gives. And we'll talk more about that, because that's another opportunity that we have, is to make a decision. So thank you for the initiative. I can't spell, for the content strategy surrounding REtoken relaunch. So, and this is just one of the ways. So that's 10 out of 100 gives that I can allocate to Julie. I might go through the process here between now and the deadline for getting all your gives. The goal when you're participating in Coordinape is to give all of your gives away. If you don't do that, then you're not fully participating in Coordinape, in my opinion. And the deadline to complete that is 4 a.m. Monday morning. We're working on a week starts on Monday, and then it ends Sunday night. So we wanted to give people plenty of opportunity Sunday night with how we scheduled this to occur, which is 10 a.m. UTC, 4 a.m. So plenty of opportunity. So I'm going to save the allocations. That's all that I'm going to do right now. And I do want to show Blur's Day here too. I gave him some extra love on the content team for the efforts that he put forward with the HowBot. Having the HowBot automatically post tweets when a snapshot proposal, because our true story, our snapshot proposals are absolutely a part of our content strategy. If you're curious about that, join the content team. Not going to go off on that tangent right now. Saving allocations, keeping the Coordinape conversation going. So that's all that I'm going to show right now. I do want to show what this looks like. This is the fun part of Coordinape. Here's the map for this week's content team allocations. And you can kind of see, like, here's Julie. Julie is doing some amazing things. She's also from a content standpoint, and it really hasn't come to light yet how valuable the effort that she's putting forward, being a timestamp keeper on our live streams. And if that's something that you're interested in and you love participating on our live streams, feel free to reach out. Again, plug into the content team. I think our upcoming team meeting for the content team is on Monday. But I'm going to stop talking here and open it up to see if anybody has any questions as far as the allocations of the gives here today.
I'm just working on it for the first time myself, messing with this, putting in what I did, and giving coins out to folks who gave contributions that I noticed. It's kind of cool.
And
where's
go ahead, Poopster.
Where's the link posted?
Hey Poopster, I put this in the YouTube comments, and it's app.coordinape.com, and I'm working on getting it into the description so we can start having that there as general reference. But I put that there in the comments for you.
So it doesn't seem like that there's a lot of questions on the allocations. And one of the things that from a little bit of experience that I've seen with Coordinape is that it seems to be a better strategy for doing more of a weighted gives. So like right now, one of the settings knobs that we have, and I'm going to go to the core team here real quick, the core relaunch team, and the on the admin panel, and you can see who the admins on the core team are right now. So like right now, we've got myself, or I'll just go down the list. We've got Dax here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger since, let's see, so everybody can see that on the live stream. So this is the core team, and we've got Dax, Blursday, Mrs. Yonks, and myself as far as admins. And you can see here the 100. So this is one of the things in round one, everybody starts off with 100. And one of the things that I understand is it's a better mechanism of doing a weighted gives. And what I mean by that is that us that have gone through like this first round, which will be 4 weeks, we'll have more experience on how to allocate gives than somebody else, than somebody that just starts using Coordinape for the first time. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but I'm thinking here for the second round, and this is again assuming that we continue using Coordinape, which I hope that we do, but I'm going to advocate that the people that completed with some degree of participation, and this is one of the things and the opportunity that we have to define is what that participation metric looks like, to say, okay, well, you graduated from Coordinape round one, and then as for doing that, you get more gives to allocate. So I'm thinking for round two, the people that graduated from round one could potentially have 125. And then I think that that could stair step up each round to where it caps out at 200. But that's just kind of me talking out loud. We don't really need to have an in-depth conversation around that because we still are learning how to do this. One thing that I did want to digress on, and I think that this poll may still be open. It might have closed immediately at the conclusion of the core team call, but I did want to show it here real quick because it has some relevant screenshots. And as you can see, we had 6 people vote on this. I'm going to make it full screen here. And what this is, this was a proposal. I had been advocating that thinking 250 retoken for each circle would be adequate. And then when I started pulling down the numbers with the spreadsheet, and I'm going to show you here real quick, I'm going to come back to this poll in just a second, but going to the admin panel here, you see this export CSV. So this is what I exported right here to generate the screenshot, which came over here after I did some doctoring on it. And I know that Poopster loved the Jerry Maguire reference here. So again, I did this, and I'll show you the screenshot first, and then we'll actually go to the actual underlying Google Docs. So let's go ahead and open this so that I can make this bigger. So this is Ambassadors round one, where I took, and let's just actually do this right now because I was showing you the core relaunch. So let's go to the ambassadors. So let's go to, and I want to show the map real quick because this is fun. Like I really encourage people to go in, play around with this. Clicking up here on the epoch, you can go over here to epoch 2. This is the one that the screenshot is in reference to, which is round 1-1, which was last week. So this is the one, this is the first one that we completed. We only had 2 circles last week, ambassadors and the core relaunch team. So going back here, this is the map. This thing is very fun. I'd really encourage you because you can really see what it looks like as far as the outflows and the inflows. Like clicking over here on this circle. Let me refresh it here real quick. And is my wallet connected? Yep. Okay. So looking here, let's make this full screen so we can see it a little better. And I'm gonna, so we can see what this looked like here from the flows standpoint. So looking at myself, it doesn't, I don't think it likes it being on full screen. Sometimes some code does some weird stuff when you toggle in and out of full screen. So this is what it looks like as far as the inflows and the outflows on that. Well, this is, let me go back here. This is the one that epoch 2. So looking here and looking at Blackfire was very engaged last week with the ambassadors program. And then we've got DSign over here. So it doesn't look like DSign allocated his gives last week because we don't have any orange flows like here where I allocated. So you can see like the line is more fat towards Blackfire and Dax. And I really, again, want to applaud both Blackfire and Dax. Thank you again for stepping up yesterday, Dax, and leading the dev team and the efforts that you're doing with your DAO diplomacy with Bankless and the DGen bot. We have an immediate opportunity and need to get the functionality with the Bankless DGen bot for our Zoom meetings going into Airtable. We'll talk more about that. That's a little bit lower priority, but we'll talk more about that in the dev team. So I'd really encourage everybody to play around with the map. It's a lot of fun. But let's go back again to the spreadsheet where we allocated that, or where we exported that data. So that was something that I talked a little bit, we click on this export CSV, did that already. That's where we ended up here with this. So I was looking, I was like, because basically what we'll do is we'll take this, we'll drop it in the airdrop here with the wallet address and the quantity, and that's the REtoken, because that's one of the fun things about Coordinape is it doesn't actually tell you like how you have to do anything with the gives. It provides a calculation. So like here, and this is some numbers geek. So like I received 11.25% of that, and so that when you calculate that to a budget, which is what we're going towards. And then another way to like think as far as the potential implications for using this. Let's say that we wanted to budget $5,000 to a particular project, and then it was a 4-week project. You could, set it up the same way that we're doing things, and then, based upon how that was distributed, you could, distribute $5,000. In this case, we're talking about distributing REtoken, so it's just a calculator for giving the number. So let's take a look here. I was like, I wasn't really like, I didn't feel that was adequate, because the other thing too is that, and the quantity that we're working with here, because right now, one of the opportunities for this team definition, this REtoken relaunch, is to really get some roles and responsibilities for these teams defined as far as like what the expectations are. Because we obviously don't want to be giving REtoken to people that aren't actively contributing. And this is one of the challenges and when you're out doing the allocations, and this is again why that weighted graduation model is important, because people that are actively engaged typically have a good understanding of who's actively contributing and doing what or what not. And that's one of the things that as we get experience with using this tool that we'll increasingly get better at. So let's actually show the one that I was looking at as far as what those numbers look like for the one at 500 instead of 250. So this is the one when I changed the number right here from 250 to 500. Here's what it looks like. And we put that forward via this sesh poll, and everybody was like, yes, show me the money as the Jerry Maguire. And of course, REtoken is a fun token. Token policy is all over the place if there's any questions about that. So I'm gonna go on mute. If anybody has any questions or thoughts on this, I love hearing some additional ideas as far as how that worked, as far as the CSV or anything else. I'd love to. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking.
Do we have the ability to take people off of Coordinape if they kind of drop out? We haven't seen them in a month or two, or I don't know how many people are just doing the auto give to everybody.
So that's a great question, and there's actually a setting for that in Coordinape, and we actually saw that happen here already. So let me make this full screen. So going back to the core relaunch team, and so looking at the settings here, the setting that accomplishes that is this auto opt out. So what happened is if people don't allocate their gives, that automatically opts them out. So like last week, Poopster and Ryan didn't allocate their gives, so it automatically allocated them out of the core relaunch team. And this is, again, one of the things that you, when you're allocating, can be thoughtful of as far as who's participating and who's not participating. And then like one of the other things too, like here in the ambassadors chat. So here's an update from the Coordinape. So like Dax here made new allocations in Coordinape prior to when this, and this is a daily webhook that runs. So you can see that Dax made some allocations earlier today, so it showed up there. So that's another way where you can kind of see who's engaged and who's not. And then you can always like go look at the map too. And again, I encourage everybody to play around with that. That's one of the fun things in this tool. And let me do that right now, is go to the map here for this team. So you can see like who's allocated and who's not. You can right now, this is the current epoch. And let's go to a different one that's probably got a little bit more activity. Let's go to the ambassadors team on there. So you can see who's done some allocations. Like I have not done that many allocations, just to Blackfire, it looks like. And then down here, well, let me refresh this again. So and play around. That's why that we're using this tool. So to answer your question again, it has this auto opt-out feature, which we do have enabled, and you can easily see. So like from an admin standpoint, don't opt people in automatically. Like that's a configured feature, and if people aren't participating the previous week and you see them opted out, don't automatically opt them in, because that we have that configured and enabled by default. Because what happens when people are opted out, like one of the things that you can do over here, you click on this little scale, and then it allocates to the people that are opted in. Like right here, it does like a, an even distribution. Now, I absolutely do not recommend or encourage people to do that. I really hope that people are thoughtful in their give allocations, because it does reflect, because it's easy to see as far as if people are being thoughtful on their give allocations, because like it creates a very different map window. So this is a fun tool. But does that answer your question with probably a lot of extra verbiage thrown in there?
Yeah, it does. I don't know how often the give everybody equally thing is going to come up, but it was more of, I feel like everybody in our community, or everybody who's on this call right now, does a lot. And I know some people just kind of jump in for one or two calls, and then they end up getting in this thing, and then we don't see them anymore. So I just want to make sure that we're not automatically giving all those people all this stuff. That's it.
And I do see somebody that is a quiet voice here, and I did want to, because this is a very much of a tangent, but I do want to thank Double D. I don't know if people have looked in here on this in the bounties channel, but we have this POAP design contest underway. We are going to extend it, and we're going to have a breakout conversation. That's something that we didn't get on the calendar, but I did want to thank Double D. And right now, that's actually something that I'm going to go in and do on the circles that Double D is participating in here. So you can see Double D put forward some POAP submissions for this. And take a look here. It's pretty exciting. I love the engagement on this. So it's fun, and looking forward to having a lot more types of these things. And if you've got something that you would like to that think that you would be a great idea, don't be shy here. We love the ideas. I have regularly said and regularly do say that this whole DAO thing is like one big social experiment. The reason that everybody's showing up here is that we are working towards something that we believe will have a huge implication, like redefining real estate and increasing equitable, affordable housing. We're going to have a lot more conversations about that topic specifically in 2022. But the bottom line is that we have fun here, and POAPs are one of the ways that we have fun. I mean, we've got a POAP for this. For those that may or may not know, the video thumbnails, it's our POAP plus some basic text. So don't get too creative on making our video thumbnails. But the awesome thing is that we have these added to our collection, and it's a great way, like, where we can absolutely, like, because that might be one of the components in this, graduation thing. But we'll have more conversation as far as stepping up and doing the weighted gives while we're working on, again, implementing best practices, creating best practices. But anyway, Double D, thank you for your POAP designs. Appreciate that.
So one thing might not be a popular opinion, but I was playing around with it. And for me, I guess, or for folks who are on multiple teams, it gets a little kind of overwhelming to jump through each of the different sessions. Because actually, the first time I did it, I forgot there were different teams, and I did everything at core. So I had to undo everything and then go to content and core and split them up and everything. What if on the short term, we just reduce it to like one circle for now? Or is that like gonna shoot us in the foot for later? I think Poopster chimed in that he likes that idea too.
Well, either that, or I'm just gonna have to opt out of all of the, yeah, because it seems like a lot to have to go through. And I mean, honestly, I think that it'd be better just to have one circle for like participate. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't actively pay attention to like several of these, like the content team, the ambassadors, and the dev team. I'm not really a part of any of those. I mean, I have participated in some of the meetings, but like I'm not active, so like I don't feel like I should. I don't even feel like I'm qualified to kind of hand out gives in those categories.
Well, while we're building the teams out, do you guys want to just make it 1,500 or whatever, 600 gives or whatever, and then put everybody in a team, and then as our teams start getting built out so that more people are only on one or two teams, would that be helpful? We could just do this for the first month, and then I think the goal was we were trying to lay infrastructure for when our community has 1,000 people or a couple thousand people or more, and you might only be on one or two teams at the most. You're not on all 5 teams.
And part of the reason that we have teams, because I saw a comment from Teresa on YouTube saying, I don't think that we should have teams. And the reason that we're having teams is that all of the work seems to, and up until we introduced this teams concept, was largely falling on my shoulders. So I'm trying to give the opportunity for other people to step up where all the work isn't falling on my shoulders to do.
Okay, let me clarify my statement. I was referring to the structure of how this particular software works, not the organization itself. I do think the organization itself should have teams or committees. However, for this particular software, those teams and committees of the organization, by default, if there's just one, I guess you call it a team. If there's just one thing that all of us participate in, the nature of Coordinape allows you to allocate who you've been interacting with and what you've been doing, i.e. your team, to give. And I don't see a reason why you have to separate those into different teams. To me, it's almost like it would serve better if that particular feature, the way they have it functioning in this app, would serve better for companies that have, say, an office in Africa and an office in Europe and an office in the United States, and everybody's working on totally different things. But for the most part, we're all working towards the same goal here, but just in different silos. And I think that there could be other ways that we can get more engagement, but still all allocate give together inside of the Coordinape app, without it being overburdensome and confusing by separating it into teams conceptually within the app. I just don't think that it's necessary.
I'm not sure who's actually participated in other coordinates, but I have, and there becomes some scalability issues as far as when you've got more people. So the expectation is that there's going to be unique deliverables. And like, while here during this relaunch month, yeah, a lot of people may be the same people, but over time, as we start scaling out, the opportunity for potentially an ambassador to have their own circle where they're, working. Because like, when you have hundreds and hundreds of people, and this is one of the things that I don't know how many people have like looked at as far as what other DAOs are doing in best practices. And this is one of the reasons that I regularly encourage other people to participate in other DAOs, as far as, because it's not just the experience that I'm making the recommendations here, but it's also the experience that I've garnered outside of here. And it's all like a work in progress. And it is something where it's requires effort, because we've been like, there's been a lot of REtoken that have been provided for people to just show up at a Zoom meeting, and whether they're actively engaged or not. And that's the expectation of this, is that there needs to be, because this isn't like to replace what we're doing. This is in addition to set the groundwork and the expectation that a lot more work needs to be getting done outside of the context of our live streams. And that hasn't happened yet. And that's the opportunity. And I think so I really feel pretty strongly about keeping this in place and being intentional. And that's one of the reasons that I made the proposal to increase that, because like, we've been operating here, and that's again with the same amount of rewards that I made the recommendation to increase it from 250 REtoken budget to 500 REtoken budget. Because when you're looking, like, when you're talking about this getting for one circle, like if you're actively engaged, this is functionally a bonus. So let's say like me right here, it took me 2 hours to allocate, because that's basically what we're rewarding right now. Like right now, this live stream is 1 hour. So when you think about like 25 REtoken equals 1 hour, let's say it took me 2 hours to only do my gives for the ambassadors. And yeah, it is an ask. And the thing with Coordinape is that this is the tool that I believe will help us to be intentional about what are we actually contributing to build this DAO. And that's the opportunity to reflect that in our epoch statement, so that everybody else can see too, because we want to move more towards like, like Tyler was putting forward. We were talking about this intro bounty, and somebody was like, oh, well, just making an introduction in Discord to reward 10 REtoken, that seems kind of silly. And Tyler was like, if we had 10,000 people do an introduction in our Discord server, and we had to give out 100,000 REtoken for that cost, that would be a really good problem to have. And that's the thoughts that are here, is that we need to get so much more done. I mean, we were talking about having a podcast in July or August, and here it is September, or no, it's almost 2022. And when you think about the content that we've created as a DAO here in 2022, we've gotten really good at the live stream content, and that's something that we can level up. But the opportunity to be a lot more intentional and have blog posts or a weekly update and those sorts of content are best created outside the conversations of a live stream. That's already been largely evident. And that was largely evidence. I mean, it took us 6 working groups to come up with 5 pages for a light paper. I feel really good about us working together and the experience that we garnered for that. But, you know, if somebody really wanted to like be intentional about chiming or cranking out a light paper, it wouldn't have taken 6 working groups that were 2 hours each times 10 people, or how many ever people were engaged in that process. So that was a lot of man hours that we put to do that. And again, I believe that the purpose of Coordinape is so that a lot of efforts, because this 250 or this 500 REtoken budget, this is just for this first round, where we're basically getting a bonus for learning how to use this tool so that we can get a lot more work done and scale this through additional effort. So there is some capabilities, and I don't know exactly what that looks like, because like one of the other knobs from an administration standpoint, I'm going to switch back to the core relaunch team, but one of the other functionalities is team selection enabled. So maybe that's something that we could look at for doing in our second round, is just do one Coordinape circle and then see what that looks like, and then do that for a 4-week cycle where we use the team selection and Coordinape. I don't feel that we've gone through this weekly cadence enough. And like the other thing that we've got, you know, we've got the holidays coming around, but I love hearing the feedback, but I'm going to go on mute and let other people kind of chime in, and, you know, with what I just said there.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing how that team selection works.
That's what I would advocate, is that we just keep this, and then we'll have a solid, like, again, a 4-week type of a dynamic. This is the second week that we've gone through this, and it is an ask, but that's something, again, that's why that I bumped this up, because I didn't feel that the 250 was adequate. Just when thinking of like, if it took you the time, like, and that would, hopefully it won't take you an hour to do that. So that's kind of like just to put it in a rewards reference point. And again, this is just one, like, I'm not expecting or asking everybody to participate in one or all of the teams. I mean, like, you've seen our calendar go, like, and this is I'm going to bring this up here too, because it's worth taking a look at. Here is our calendar for this week. Here's the calendar for last week. And then you look at the week before. It's a lot different from a density standpoint. And it's not that that was an anomaly. I mean, that was what the calendar normally looked like. So we've definitely ramped up the activities, and yeah, the Coordinape stuff, like being thoughtful on putting in the gives, it does take some effort. And I think that that's the biggest benefit of that, is the intentionality. Like, but anyway, I'm going to stop talking again.
How about, guys, if we leave it this way for, you know, till the end of January, and if it's still really overwhelming, and if we don't have significantly different teams by then, we can rethink about this. Is that fair? I mean, I think everybody's got good positions for doing it, and I understand why people are saying, but it's all the same people and all the same teams. So as we're building out the different teams, and what should happen here in the next month or two with all the new people that we're onboarding, is that fair that we give it this way with the separate teams till the end of January, and then see how it goes after that?
I think we first need to do a proposal that clearly outlines how people are put on teams. Cooper mentioned that he doesn't even think that he is Poopster. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's been spoken about quite regularly, and that's one of the things that we've been very intentional on the team meetings.
All
so
right, I'm gonna mute.
That's
I
go ahead,
think,
Poopster.
no, I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, I guess it's fine if we're gonna do it that way, but like I said, I feel like I'm gonna have to opt out of a lot of these just because I'm not informed enough and don't want to, like, I don't feel like I'd be able to fairly judge a lot of it.
No, and that's absolutely fair too. I mean, because like, if you don't feel that you would do justice or do the right thing, because like, we're not saying that you have to participate in Coordinape, and we aren't changing any of the REtoken rewards that we've been operating within that. And that's one of the things that I really want people to look at this as a bonus. Now, especially here during this first round. Now, what this will look like as we continue to evolve and grow, that's a big question mark, you know, because the goal here is to create a framework where and that's one of the things, like we also introduced this team captains component, and you know, that's basically in its fledgling as well. So while we're all working on getting some legs in this, and that's what we're really trying to lay a foundation and be early. I mean, because like, when was it, Blurs? Like, we actually put Coordinape in place, I think October 31st. It was like me, Blur's Day, and Mrs. Yonks. I think that was like one day that we only had 3 of us on a core team call or something. We're like, hey, you know, we talked about this, because like I don't think people have enough appreciation for how much of a pain point that it's been for Mrs. Yonks and I. And it's been so much better that Mrs. Yonks has helped to be the secretary from a participation standpoint. But this is one of the big underlying motivations that I have of Coordinape, is it's been a freaking nightmare to do the rewards distribution the way that it's being done today. And I don't even know if I can really do enough as far as how big of a pain point that is. And that's one of the reasons that the airdrops don't occur more regularly than they do. I love hosting the live stream. The live stream's the easy part. Getting ready as far as doing all the administration where I feel that there's enough checks and balances, because one of the things too is that we don't want to promise that somebody's going to get rewards for something and then they don't do that, because that's like a cardinal sin, you know. And that's one of the things that I feel that we're very diligent about. And this is the opportunity to use a scalable tool, and I am not suggesting right now, because I love the rewards incentives as far as the way that they are. And like, that was evidence too. And I haven't even put forward, we talked a little bit about the this introduction and the ambassador's bounty. And that's going to be a very manual process too, until we can put some automation behind that. And anyway, so if people want to opt out of Coordinape, that's absolutely acceptable. And like, you know, I don't know how this tool is going to grow and evolve, but it's definitely a tool that the people that use it and that are actively engaged, that it most people that are actively engaged using it love using it. So I don't know where this is going to go and evolve into, but I'm liking using it, and I'm looking forward to reducing personal pain points that I have with REtoken rewards distributions as they exist today.
Well, the other thing I think is there's no expectation that everybody be on all the teams unless you actively want to participate in every team. I think the whole point of the teams was so some people could say, I'm interested in dev and that's it, or I want to do ambassadors and mighty circle launch. That's all I want to do. So I don't think the teams hopefully shouldn't be overwhelming, because by the way, you misspelled relaunch here, babe. You're missing an N there. The big thing is hopefully it's not overwhelming, because if you're participating in every team that you're in the circle on, then you'll know who's doing stuff. And if you don't want to be on that team, then that's completely fine. We just drop you out of that circle, and then you don't have to worry about what you're missing or who gets what or whatever. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, my only question was like, because all of those different circles showed up when I clicked on my profile. So no, Jason, it says something about like, if you're not giving your full 100 whatever gives, then you're not fully participating. So like,
Yeah,
I didn't know,
I
like,
think
I didn't want to be
kind of a
for those,
misunderstanding with us. We figured the core team would just start off on whatever circles they wanted to. And I think we may have just opted some people into circles that they weren't necessarily interested in. So now that we've kind of got the system down and everybody knows what's going on, people can say, hey, I'm just not really interested in that team, take me off of it. Or I might kind of be interested, but not enough to actually give. I just kind of show up when I can. So either of those are fine. But yeah, once you let us know which teams you actually want to participate in, then we'll just leave you in those. And if you don't want to be in some of the circles that you're in, we'll just take them off. So whatever you want.
Well, yeah, just the one I only opted in on the core dev relaunch. That's it. So I mean, that's of the ones available. That's all I could. Yeah, I'm not a part of any of the others.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So if you guys are in circles that we put you into and we shouldn't have, just let us know and we'll take you back out. I don't want anybody to be overwhelmed, and I don't want people to feel like they have to participate and keep up with teams if they don't want to. So I just want everybody to do what they want.
I think that's fair. Just one clarifying question. So if one Epic, C Poopster, Epic, I looked it up. That's how you pronounce it. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I will forever use Epic instead of Epoch, although I, just like Yonks, have always used Epoch, but I digress. If I give none, then I'm automatically opted out. But if I even give 10 or whatever, I'm opted in for next automatically.
If you're asking, I don't know if I have the answer. If that's the case, I don't know if there's some threshold on that. So we'll
figure it out.
Really know.
No biggie.
Yeah, I think the big thing is we just want to make sure that people don't join and then not show up and then not get rewards, or they do get rewards, they just show up every week. So that's one of the reasons why we made it Sunday super late. And true story, Jason jumps out of bed at 3:38 in the morning. He's like, oh my God, I forgot to do my Epic, runs to his computer, and he's like, I gotta get this allocated. So anyway, 4 a.m. There you go.
And that wasn't for participation here. That was for participation in another DAO that Tyler and I are getting increasingly engaged in. So just as an FYI, I scheduled this because like that's one of the things I'm going to do here after this call is get the gives allocated for this week, because it does end at 4 a.m. Monday morning. You can see here 10 a.m. UTC, and that's so that we could have plenty of people on this. And again, well, like absolutely, I would love to explore the team functionality there, and maybe just have one circle and see if that makes sense, and then use the teams and see what that looks like. So the best practices, I mean, this as far as a tool is very new. I only anticipate that this is going to get better and better. So because some of the biggest organizations in the business, I like Gitcoin uses this, Bankless DAO uses this. It's a product out of Yearn Finance. It's something that forked off from Yearn Finance. So it's only getting more traction and the opportunity. I believe that this is all open sourced now when they released it as Coordinape. And so yeah, it's going to get better and better. And like I said, we make come to the conclusion of this and like this tool is doesn't make sense, and we're still trying to figure out like the rewards distribution is a constantly evolving dynamic. And like one of the conversations on rewards distribution that we've already had and will continue to have is super fluid, and that's one that we'll probably be having more conversations with sooner than later for providing an additional rewards incentive for the team captains. But I'm looking at the time here. This has had so much engagement, and I love the engagement. And yeah, so if people are interested in having more of a voice, a lot of the conversations about the team specifically, we have weekly recurring calls for that. I'm gonna show the calendar. I'm gonna go on mute and allow anybody else to chime in as far as some final thoughts. But here, we're finishing off week 50. We've got the calendar coming up here. I think the only event that may be occurring is the POAP design contest planning. And that's something that we'll talk about and figure out and get that communicated and put. And one of the other things too that we're trying to get better at is having all of the events, because this is one of the feedbacks, and this is again an opportunity for us as a DAO to get better at, is putting more events. Because like we look at the following week, the only ones that we've got on there are the community call, and so we haven't even really identified the best times, and we're also working on holiday schedule. But that being said, I don't think this Twitter space is going to happen. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking here, leave it on with the calendar for next week, and here's some final thoughts from you all.
Thanks everybody for all your YouTube engagement. We get tons of comments, tons of likes. During this last couple minutes, if you haven't already given us a thumbs up and a comment, do that for some bonus REtoken.
I think as we migrate to these apps that we are trying to learn, and hopefully some of the load will be off Jason and Tyler's shoulders, that would also give the whoever hold the leaders of each team more chance to structure the teams the way they see fit, because we are going to grow in that direction, especially when we have more people coming in.
Yeah, and thanks for that, Amy. And that's one of the things too, when you look at the workflow in this intro ambassadors bounty, that's one of the things that was very artfully architected into that workflow, is to have a more important component. Like we have this Google Sheets, and that's one of the opportunities that we and the dev team have, is to migrate towards Airtable, and not using a Google Sheet to manage our organization. But that's some workflow that, again, was very intentionally, but also incentivized for some the burden being put from Mrs. Yonks and I to the ambassadors, where they're getting some additional REtoken for that burden until we, again, get some automation in place. And this is one of the things too, if you didn't know, the way that we are itemizing things, it makes it very easy to see from a REtoken cost standpoint what different things are costing us. And that's, again, from an accounting standpoint, I don't want to geek out on the numbers, but just had to throw that in there. But going back to Coordinape, we are finishing up the second round here on this, and we can definitely have some conversations about what we want the second round to look like based upon our learning experience here, and absolutely encourage people that love this DAO model, like, get some experience from other places. The way that we're doing our DAO business here is very different than the way that a lot of other people do their DAO business. Like, one of the fun things that we host, not even through REtoken, the book club on Saturday, that's hosted through the DAO Hack, a fun project from ours, but Ernest joined that, and he was talking about how that book club was very different than the book clubs that Bankless DAO hosts. So just bringing different experiences together and being DAOplements, and that's one of the new Discord roles that we've introduced here during this REtoken relaunch month. And Poopster or Blur's Day, if you've got anybody. I know that I need to get Grindel added to that list. We'll have some more conversation about the Polygon ecosystem, DAO grant, and where that stands on our community call Wednesday. Very excited that that's moving forward, and just dropping that as a little nugget here. But again, final thoughts before we call it for a wrap and go on our ways here on Sunday evening.
Hey, Jason, quick thing. There's a comment from YouTube. Brian was asking, will Coordinape take over airdrops? Could you?
I don't have any expectations right now of making changes to the existing rewards unless somebody else wants to propose something better. I really like how that we have the rewards incentives structured right now, and the task at hand from us that's doing most of the administration is to automate that in some capacity by the dev team. So I would really like to see that framework continue to exist. I think the opportunity also with another tool like SourceCred to automate some of that stuff, like whether it's participating in a Seshbot poll or RSVPing via a Seshbot event, you know, where the more that we can just like look at it on a very fractionalized, like from a workflow standpoint. So to answer Ryan's question, and thank you for bringing light of that question there. Don't have any plans, and we're only wanting to increase the rewards distribution. Like I'll show this here real quick because it's very relevant on our Google Sheet Tracker as far as where we're standing on as far as tokens that we've distributed here. So let me, like, looking here as far as the total tokens that we've distributed, and this goes all the way back to September 5th. And I'm going to make this bigger, zoom in here. So like right now, as of today, we have only distributed 22,640 REtoken since September 5th out of 10 million. So it's not that we say we want to, that's one of the things that we said very early on, is that we want to be consistent in our rewards distribution while we're working towards our regulation crowdfunding offering. And this is something that we are going to be very transparent throughout the whole process. And when that time does come around, via our roadmaps 2022 Q3, we're going to be very transparent throughout that entire process and put forward a proposal, and it'll be a group architected proposal as far as what that's going to look like, going from a REtoken social token to a security token. You know, those conversations haven't happened and they won't happen for months, but that's something that we are going to be very intentional about, being consistent on our rewards distribution and engage everybody throughout the process. And if you have some ideas as far as a great idea for like an opportunity, like that's one of the things, the way that we like creating more bounties, and like the how bounty that Blur's Day has been working on, which I think will be a great benefit, you know, and that born out of the desire to see an automation whenever the snapshot proposal, and Blur's was like, had a little snag on that. And he's like, well, you know, bump up the bounty, and everybody's like, absolutely. So the opportunity to like one of the immediate needs that we have is to upgrade our unlock protocol smart contract for Token Town, Colorado. So that's another opportunity here. And I'll take that conversation with you offline, Dax, as far as working with you or DSign to get that bounty created so that either yourself or that somebody else in the community can fulfill that effort in a manner that meets the underlying needs of the community at large. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question, Ryan, but thanks for bringing attention to that, Dax. And I'm gonna defer to the final countdown timer here, the 5, and this is something that I'm gonna get better at doing. And when we count down, I'm gonna end the live stream. And if somebody wants to chime in while we've got the visual cue, feel free to.
Hey, everyone in the live stream, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Till next time.
Good night, everyone.